Um, while people are plotting, I'm not going to tell you where to feel. All you'd have to do is hover over a color, and it'll give you some words. This is also available as an app. I've found it really helpful, even though I work with student and family affairs and handle a lot of feelings with Miss George. It's helpful to identify and not communicate to people and simply saying I'm fine or okay or I'm good. But it's been helpful to find different verbiage, to identify how we're feeling, and then using our other tools like our meta moment and our best self to either do something about it or keep how to keep it going. This time around in in-person learning in the classroom, there has been some addition to some wall decoration, where I put up strategies on how to either stay or shift in the red, green, yellow, or blue areas. Um, there's things like jumping jacks, write a note, read a book, think of a happy memory. Um, so if y'all can just, you don't need to have an account, you just need to have that little code. Gonna keep dropping it in there. And I wanted to share a fun fact. I thought, I just like to get to know y'all all the time. So I heard this on the radio because now I'm driving to work. Heard this on the radio about a new article around screen time and addiction to phones. So if you're done with the mood meter or the mood meter is too complicated, in the chat in this Zoom, you're going to pick one of these numbers to answer the question, how long can you give up your cell phone or your smart device for personal use? So anything that you use your phone for that is not work or a kid, 911 emergency. How long do you think you can give it up for? You would just pick a number, put it in the chat. There is no judgment on this either. You'd be surprised how many people are actually really addicted. Yeah, you guys went in order, 1, 2, and 3. Not bad. Some of the staff on this call, we have a mutual friend whose brother gave up their phone for Lent, like just gave up his phone, the whole thing for Lent, not even just personal use. And I thought that was pretty admirable because he's about 25. And I have a 24-year-old sister, so seeing that people are giving this up is like amazing to me. Random notes, 45% of children, American children, between the ages of 10 and 12 have a smartphone. 26% of car accidents are caused by smartphone usage, and 31% of smartphone users in the US never turn off their phones. There was also in the study, it said like the 5% of the people that they surveyed said that they could give up their phone for over 2 weeks. Of all the people they surveyed, only 5% said that they could give it up. And 23% of people said that they could not give it up at all. So it's just a technology world that we're living in. Again, no judgment. If you can give it up for more than a couple of hours, that is very admirable. I shared with our leadership team, there's a screen time feature on your iPhone that people should know about by now, where like, if you set a bedtime, all your applications or whatever applications you select will turn them off. It'll ask you when you want to touch it, like ignore for 1 minute, ignore your time limit today. But I really suggest that you take use of that and really learn how to disconnect. I'm also going to drop a link to an article that talks about how like being all that screen time can really affect our sleep patterns.
Thanks, Ms. Lopez. And I think like connecting these two things, I'm thinking about a conversation I had with 8th graders today, actually, right? Our focus on ruler and our feelings and social emotional intelligence is particularly important in the year of resilience, this really challenging place that we've all been in that has caused us to be more reliant on tech than potentially ever before. And I think not only You know, checking in with your students. How are they feeling? Your students, your children, how are they feeling? You have them talk to you about the meta moment strategy that we're working on, where they think about their best self and how their best self shows up in situations. But also talking to them about the impact of technology on our moods, on our feelings, right? We are staring at blue lights all day. It can impact our sleep, which can impact the way we feel. And those are things that are in our control. And I think that's something that's really empowering in a year where there's so much out of our control, is reminding students or reminding ourselves that there are things that we can control that can impact the way that we feel. And so the plug to 8th graders today when I spoke to them was that they've got to put the tech away and get themselves in bed. They're in this habit of being up till 1, 2 a.m. That makes remote learning even harder than it already is when you're tired and you're struggling to stay focused. And so I think that I appreciate you bringing that in full circle for us, Ms. Lopez. Not only, again, checking in with your students. The cool thing about the ruler program is we're doing it K-8. When a student's had the ruler curriculum since kindergarten, I think by 8th grade, they've learned over, oh, I'm going to say it wrong. If anyone here is a ruler representative, I'm going to get the number wrong, but it's like over 800 feeling words or something to really help them describe and process where they are. So let's keep that practice up at home, and let's put those darn cell phones and laptops away at the end of the day. Ms. Lopez, will you just make sure no one on here needs translation before we get any further?
Si necesitan traducción, please, por favor, pónganlo en el chat y yo de ahí les responderé a sus preguntas.
Awesome. Thank you, Ms. Lopez. All right, you all know our Zoom norms by now. Thank you for just staying on mute unless we're coming off for Q&A. Just helps with the background noise. You can always drop questions in the chat. We've got quite a few of our team members on who can answer questions as we go. And then as always, we'll have some Q&A time at the end where you can use that raise a hand function and then just come on off mute. Awesome, this is our agenda. We just had our community builder. We're going to talk grade level highlights. We'll have a community council spotlight and some updates and reminders. All right, it's the moment we've all been waiting for. We're going to turn it over to our fearless 5th grade team leader, Ms. Colgan.
Ms. Colgan is not here today, but she did send me all of your updates. So I didn't make it as colorful as she did because it's a little blinding for my blind eyes. But shout out to Moth, Sophia, Alina for being Math Rockstars of the Week. Shout out to all the 5th graders who went back to the building this week. Shout out to Esther Solari for being a superstar historian. Shout out to Mila for always working hard and making sure her work gets done. And May for being an amazing class for Miss Swap when she subbed. Malika and Finesse for showing scholarship and sisterhood. Kylie Williams for really showing up in ELA and bringing her A game. Adelaide and Taylor for all of their participation in science this week. Jade McLean for her participation in science and history. Miracle and Faith for daring to perform in theater and never giving up. Shout out to Ms. Basir's small group for being consistent and putting in the work to grow in math. I do want to give a special shout out to the 5th graders who are in a 7th grade pod who are being very responsible, very mature. Also the 5th graders in a 5th grade pod. This time around, everyone has a lot more relationship building skills. There's a lot more giggles in the room. There's a lot more fun at recess. So it's been really heartwarming for Ms. Denolis and I to see. Actually, we're like, you know what? I want to be a lunch proctor again. They just really brought that joy. You can tell that they're building those relationships in the classroom and it's translating over. And their teachers are already talking, like they already were like, Ms. Lopez, when's the core value awards? Because we're ready. So 5th grade is doing it.
Wow, I just got skipped over. No, it's okay. Welcome everyone, 6th grade family and everyone. Great to see you all. A few shout outs from the 6th grade team. Shout out to Sarah for attending history office hours. Mr. LaRose has been chatting about Sarah a lot and how great she's been which is no surprise because Sarah is constantly texting me for extra help. Shout out to Tiana and Kylie for pushing our discussions in ELA. They happen to be in my small groups and just love our conversations around the text. Ms. DuFord wants to shout out Khalees, Alyssa S., Tawana, Amaya, and Zadia for attending homework help with her. They actually stay after from 4 to 5 to get that extra time with Ms. DuFord. So it's really great to see students doing that. Shout out to Solange for her participation in ELA. It has been amazing these past couple of weeks with Solange, pushing kids, asking them why they think that, always referring them back to the text of like, oh, well, based on that line, why did you say that? Shout out to Peyton, Madison M., and Amaya for being brave and volunteering to present for our upcoming Unity meeting this Friday. So if you want to hear them present on Eleanor Roosevelt, please come and listen to them. They're amazing, as everyone is in ER for putting in this work. And then lastly, I wanted to shout out Kasmira for presenting during Black History Month. She was the only student in ER who wanted to do it and was brave enough. And we talked a lot about it. She was a little shy, but it was an amazing presentation and I was super happy to see it.
All right, good evening, 7th grade families and everyone. Lots of shout outs to share today. I just wanted to shout out a few students in my small group, Jasleen, Nikayla, Amira, and Dana, for showing so much motivation, responsibility, and scholarship when we're doing work together in that small group. I never need to remind them to come. I never need to give them a single reminder to do anything. You know, they know what to do and they are so on top of the work on their own. And are just making such incredible growth because of that effort and dedication that they are putting in. I'm really looking forward to Women's History Month with my advisory, CH. Big shout out to Zanaya, Kiara, Alicia, Harmony, Anissa, Jasleen, Madison, Kimani, Caitlin, Amira, Mackenzie, Jillian, Anard, and Alexis for already signing up to give their presentations. Super excited to learn, fun facts about all the women they chose. Got everyone from Michelle Obama to my mom. So it's going to be great. Big shout out to all the 7th graders I got to see in person yesterday. We missed you so much. Miss Strong kind of stole some of my material earlier in the meeting, but yeah, some of the 7th graders grew like a foot, barely recognized you, but it was a great day. And I want to shout out the other 2 advisories. BDT is always impressing me with their diligence and how independent they are as they work. I was so impressed by the quality of feedback this class gave to one another when students were writing essays. Their feedback was really on point, really helpful and direct. And big shout out to LL for their consistent engagement in class and for making me laugh every day, usually at my own expense, but I really enjoy ending the day with that class. Just their energy makes it so much fun.
All right, good evening, everyone. Of course, I had to use the graduation caps because it is time. Wanda, I know this is part 2 for you. We did it in 2019, and here we are again doing it with Isabella, which I can't even imagine because I remember doing it with Emma and Isabella just annoying her the entire time while she was doing this process. So to see her actually go through it is just really just amazing and crazy, and just been at Girls Prep that long. So shout out to Savannah for being so diligent in ELA, Lola and Caitlin, Aliana, Lorraine, Caitlin, Michaela, Kamora, and Leilani T for science. Mr. Patel wanted me to express that he's super proud of how the girls have been doing, and overall as a grade, they have had shown so much growth since the start of the year. He was sharing the data with me. We actually were talking about it earlier today, and he was just like blown away with how much growth they've made just from the start of the year till February now. Ariana Mello, Lorraine, Pragia, Emily, Layla Gonzalez, Saray, Kamora, and Nyla from Merit in all of their classes, pushing themselves through, and just making sure that they're turning in all their assignments. I want to give a special shout out to all of the 8th graders who pushed themselves through the high school process. I know it was not easy. I know it was a lot of endless nights. One of the few nights I actually stayed up till like 11 or 12 o'clock texting the kids, can you proofread this, Miss McCullough? Sure, at 11:15, this is my best self, I got you. And doing this while still having to turn in work and making sure that they were on top of their game. So we will all talk in few more months to figure out where our little scholars will be going. What is the next step for them? I'm super excited. This is my favorite part of the year with the scholars, and also the most stressful part. I think I'm definitely sure I have a couple more gray hairs after these last few weeks, but I just really want to say thank you to the parents. Thank you to everybody that's like supported the girls through this process and me as well. And we will see what happens with the class of 2021.
Shout out 8th grade. And again, shout out to Tyler Nelson and Brittany Samaru, who I had an office hours with this morning, just to talk about all things 8th grade stress and all things high school. It was really good to spend some time with them and to just have them advocate for what do they think we need to do next as they end their 8th grade remote year of school. So it was really awesome to spend some time. So shout out to those two girls for coming and meeting with me this morning. All right, community council. I know that our last month, our third Wednesday of the month is typically our community council meeting on Wednesdays. It replaces our chat and chew. But last month we had midwinter recess, and we had what ended up being a postponed family town hall that got in the way. So I wanted to make sure that if our community council leaders were on the call, that there was an opportunity to just turn the mic over to them for any information or community council follow-up that we needed to do since we missed our last meeting.
Uh-oh, hi, Yolanda's on. I'm sorry. Joanne, are you out there? Did you want to?
I am, although it's the French horn lesson, so it might get interrupted.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, we really didn't have much to share this round. We will plan to meet and host our council meeting on the 17th of this month. So keep a lookout on the agenda for that. And I believe that is really all. We look forward to seeing everyone in 2 weeks.
Awesome. Thanks, Yolanda.
Thanks.
Not a problem. We can go to the next slide, Ms. Lopez. Awesome. So we're just going to shift into some updates and reminders. Awesome. So as you know, February was Black History Month. It is closed out and we've started Women's History Month. I think it's important to acknowledge that Black History Month and Women's History Month, they're not months. These are people we should be celebrating and issues we should be talking about and infusing all year long. But we want to shine a particular spotlight on some of the work that our teachers did in advisory and are doing in advisory this month, connecting our ruler curriculum to conversations around Black history and women's history. And so I'm going to turn it over just to any of the teachers that are on the call to just give families a brief highlight of some of the awesome things, not only that students did in the last month, but that are coming down the pipe this month with women's history.
I think it was mentioned already by Ms. Walker, but we're pushing our scholars to talk about important women in their lives or that they admire that they might not have met. So I know for 8th grade and I think across all grades, we're having them do presentations on people who they feel inspire them, women who inspire them. And like Ms. Walker said, these can be people from Michelle Obama to your mom, which are just the same thing because Michelle Obama is a mom. So she is also inspiration to her daughters. And then also we last month, week, we were able to end out Black History Month with doing a cahoots. Shout out to Kaylin, Yolanda. Kaylin came in there and absolutely did such an amazing job with her Black History facts. She represented SW and 8th grade. And it was really fun to see the 5th grade, 6th grade, and 7th grade come together and participate in something like that. Someone from each advisory was representing, and it was really great. But I'm looking forward to seeing who the girls are inspirations to them. So that's one thing that I'm really looking forward with Women's History Month.
Yeah, I don't have really a ton to add that Ms. McCullough didn't already say. There's going to be a lot more, student voice and choice in Women's History Month to select and share their knowledge with us on women who they find inspiring. Black History Month was a little more teacher-led, at least in the 7th grade. Ms. Daniel and CH is on the diversity, equity, and inclusion team at our school. And she did a really amazing job leading us through Black History Month presentations. And there was also a big push to align that with what we're already discussing with Ruler. So we did a lot of talking about, how do you think people need to feel in order to take action to make a change? And how do we take our feelings, of anger sometimes and turn that into something productive and positive? So those conversations, it was impressive to me. The things that the students said, and I definitely learned a lot, and I'm looking forward to learning more this month.
Definitely want to reshare my shout out for Casimira Brown for Black History Month. Again, we had this discussion about not only celebrating people in the past, but also the present. And she felt that we should also celebrate ourselves in the class. And so she presented on herself and how, she is Black and she wants to celebrate herself and all of her classmates. And I thought that was really amazing. So again, shameless plug to Casimira.
Awesome. Thank you, great team leaders. I know Miss Colgan is not on tonight, but the 5th graders also really had some just incredible conversations. I know that Miss Colgan will be excited to share more with you when she's back with us, just about how awesome that month has been for them. And so we encourage you'll see the dates for our upcoming Unity meetings this month in just a couple slides. And we really encourage you all to join us. And you're right, Miss Lopez, Miss Craigman has got a slide in a moment about petals, but shout out to Miss Craigman, who is on the call. She is the co-leader of our diversity, equity, and inclusion team, and really did a lot of the spearheading and the planning. Miss Craigman, if you want to come off mute and add anything, I am happy to turn the mic over to you before we talk petals.
Just shout out to our team of teachers and students for the month of Black History. They really leaned in, and we are super excited for what we have planned for March, which is more student-led advisories, because we know our girls have a lot to say and are really excited about this month. So, yeah.
Thanks, Ms. Gregman. All right, so upcoming dates to remember. Now's the time to screenshot or take a photo if that's helpful for you to just know what is coming down the pipe. So this week on Friday, we do have the 5th and 6th grade Unity meeting. ER is presenting. Shout out to Mr. Marr. It's going to be incredible what the girls produced there. That Unity meeting, Ms. Lopez, correct me if I'm wrong, starts at 9 a.m.
Yep, all advisories are now at 9, so all Unity meetings are now at 9.
Awesome. March 8th, which is Monday, is the official start of trimester 3. Holy moly, how in the world we got here? Time flies. So it starts trimester 3 Monday. March 11th coming up, and 12th. You're going to hear about March Madness in a moment, but we've got grade team color day, and we've got a 7th and 8th grade Unity meeting with JJ, along with Decades Day. March 17th and 19th, definitely mark the calendars for those, our family teacher conferences, where we'll be distributing report cards that are going to be digital. It's going to be through Power School once again. But March 17th and 19th, we will have those conferences. March 17th is the evening. So those conferences will be offered from 4 to 7 p.m. And then on March 19th, that's a full day of conferences, 8 to 4. We'll be using Calendly once again, which is what we used last time to make it really easy for families to schedule those virtual conferences. So more detail to come, but mark your calendars now. Again, March 17th in the evening, 4 to 7, March 19th all day, 8 to 4. March 18th is Math Biweekly Quiz number 6. We will be continuing to plug that date for you in the coming weeks, similar to how we asked for your support in MAP, and we got ourselves a 98% completion, which gave us really valuable data to know where students are in terms of growth. We need the same support in making sure that when we have our biweekly quizzes, that students are present and in math class, all their classes, but definitely math class on that day. This time around, we had lower attendance in math than we would like. And this, again, this is really valuable data that lets us know whether students are on track. And so it's really important all students are present for those quizzes. On March 26th, we've got a whole school unity meeting. We're going to have our core value award ceremony for trimester 2. And we will also be doing a Women's History Month celebration. So mark the calendar. It'll be a fun time of community on March 26th at 9 a.m. And then March 29th through April 2nd is our spring break. Just a note, and this was communicated a few times in the public prep family newsletters, but we shifted our spring break dates to align with the DOE when that date shifted. And so we are on spring break March 29th through April 2nd. There was a different set of dates at the start of the year, but want to make sure everybody knows that we are aligned with the DOE for that spring break, March 29th to April 2nd. And then the week of April 12th, we'll talk more about it, but we've got one of our benchmark assessments coming up for ELA. Also a really, really important day for students to be present so that we know we can gather the data needed to make instructional decisions that are best for our scholars. Turning it over to you, Ms. Lopez.
Sure. So March Madness happens every single year. We dress up on a Friday and get ready for test prep. We make it fun. We have a music video, all of the great and phenomenal things. If you are new to our school, I will share with you my favorite test prep video. No, my favorite one, not that one, Ms. McCullough, not last year's. Not that one. So we come up with all original lyrics to like a song that's very popular at the moment. And the school, the student support team gets together, creates all original lyrics, puts a video together, and we have some guest appearances. Last year's, I will say, was not my best moment. I'm not a rapper. Keep me on the pop side of things. So I'll share the pop one with you because it's phenomenal. But saying that to say that we are still celebrating with our scholars. Some of the dates that we just saw are on here because on the 19th, we are not in school. We added an extra day. So the 11th, the grade team leaders are choosing the color that they want the entire grade to wear. They will communicate that with me, and then I will share that surprise out with everyone. They're told, I highly suggested they text each other so that they don't come in the same color, but if they do, that's okay. And this is for in-person and remote students. We want to build that community. So all celebrations are for in-person and remote. The 12th is Decades Day. Ms. McCullough is coming in her 90s day gear. It is just a thing her and Ms. George do every single year. That's just what they choose. And then for March 26th, we came up with this creative new theme that we haven't done before. Is Women's History Month Day. So I'm not going to spoil it. I almost told you who I was going to dress up as, but you can either dress up as an inspirational woman who's an inspiration to you, or you can wear a girl power t-shirt. There are a ton of them, but we wanted to give you time to get to that day and plan your costumes well, or your t-shirts well, Amazon orders, all those things. So this is just a few ways that we're going to celebrate, and we're also going to be taking these moments to connect them to our close reading. I don't know if Ms. Cardenas is still on here. I know she was on here. You are on here. If you want to talk about how we're going to start connecting this to some student celebration.
Sure. Hi, everybody. So normally what we do at this time of the year with March Madness is try to dovetail it with our close reading mastery, which is test prep. We do not have any specific guidance from the state about what is going on for the test this year, but regardless, we want to make sure that we're really engaging kids in quick cycles so that we are teaching those transferable reading and writing skills. So we are going to be doing what is kind of like a mini test prep unit, because we believe it's important for students to be prepared for any assessment. And so we're going to make sure that that sort of matches up with what we're doing for March Madness. We want the kids to be excited about it. We're building incentives into it. We're going to be celebrating them at Unity Meeting. Ms. Lopez and I are working out how to get gift cards to kids, potentially getting some shirts as well, but just a way of bringing some joy to the late winter, early springtime. And so you'll be seeing more information coming out about that. But those are two initiatives that we're sort of putting together this year. Normally our test prep season usually runs about 7 weeks or so, and it's just an extension of our close reading that we do all the time. And this year it's going to be a truncated version, which is about 4 weeks long. So more to come on that, but a lot of exciting things are being planned.
All right, so Ms. Craigman, our incredible art teacher, DEI co-lead, artist extraordinaire, is on here, and I'm going to turn it over to her in a moment, but we've wanted to just talk a little about our launch of Trimester 3 Petals. This is something that we talked about briefly before in our previous Chat and Choose, and something I've been in conversation with our community council leaders about and gotten some feedback and ideas, but we're really, really excited about our last trimester of Petals, and we're taking a slightly different approach with a very purposeful intentionality behind it. And so starting Monday, March 8th, trimester 3, 5th through 8th grade scholars every week will have a synchronous art class, synchronous PE class, and a synchronous theater class. So rather than having just theater or just art and PE, scholars are going to have the opportunity to have 1 day of synchronous instruction in each of those classes. 7th and 8th grade will also have some college knowledge time with Miss McCullough on their 4th day of Petals in the week. So we're really excited to get that back in the schedule with our 7th and 8th grade scholars. And 5th and 6th graders on that 4th day are going to have 1 async period per week. This is in response to feedback that we've gotten from 5th and 6th grade families in particular, that scholars just need a little bit more off-screen time and a little bit more time to just get themselves organized and caught up throughout the week and throughout the day. And so it's going to serve as like a study hall, asynchronous block of work time for scholars. And if the scholars are in person in the building, it will be a period where they get additional academic support from the staff members that are in the building supporting scholars that week, and from their Learning Center aide. So it'll be a time to get some extra tutoring and support. And so what I want to do is turn it over to Ms. Craigman to just talk a little bit more about the design of the curricula in this trimester and what you can expect at home.
Hello, everyone. This is my first family chat and chew, and I'm really excited to be here. Like Ms. Strong has said, I'm Ms. Craigman. I am the visual arts teacher for your lovely girls. So basically, trimester 3, I just want to, calm everyone. There is not going to be an overload of work from the Petals team. even though students are going to have art and theater as opposed to art or theater, we will be seeing them way less often than we would see them in trimester 1 and 2. So there's approximately 13 times that we'll see them, and that's not including days off or spring break. So the way we've designed the curriculum is that we are going to be focusing on one unit of study for the entire trimester. Being very mindful to build into our lessons time for students to actually complete the assignments, right? So there's not going to be an overload of homework. There's not going to be 2-3 assignments due per week. We are very mindful of the amount of work that students already have to do. So anything that we are asking them to do is most likely going to be given to them in class, and time will be given to them in class to complete that assignment. With that being said, because we will only be seeing students one time per week, it is really important that they show up to their Petals class, right? If they are absent one day, they will be allowed to make up work. That is, again, what the study hall block is. If you guys have read my visual arts contract, which I hope you have, every student has 7 days after an assignment has been given to upload the work without any penalties, because I get it, things happen, right? But consecutive absences will just not work for Petals for trimester 3, because it kind of spirals out of control. Then, you know, they're missing a few things, and it's just not really setting them up for success. So attendance is going to be key, but we have heard your concerns and have adjusted our curriculum as best as we can.
Yeah, thanks, Ms. Craigman. And before I turn it over to Ms. McCullough, I just want to highlight and just like shout out our Petals teachers. So they are innovative and passionate in ways that are just really inspiring to see. And today we had a collaborative planning session specifically around the curricula that they're developing for this kind of capstone course. So it's exciting to have students do a project-based curriculum that is going to allow them to apply the skills that they already learned in theater and art. And the really cool part about what the teachers have planned is that there's also going to be a lot of cross-content collaboration around the themes in the project, really exploring social justice themes through visual arts, through performing arts and film, and also through our health curriculum. And so they are intentionally designing these units in a way that is going to complement each other and have students really dig into important real world issues and problems and ideas through artistic expression. And we're really, really excited about the end of year Petals celebration, where we can showcase to families the incredible things that students create. So again, attendance is a must. Students aren't going to want to miss this, because the work that the teachers have planned is going to be just really powerful and really, really incredible for scholars. And so I want to turn it over to Ms. McCullough just to briefly talk a little bit about college knowledge with our 7th and our 8th graders.
Hi, yeah, Ms. Strong's really excited, as you guys can hear in her voice. Yeah,
I am.
We hear it.
We met about it today for like 2 hours. It was great work time.
I feel it. I do, Ms. Strong. I feel it. Sorry if you hear my cat screaming in the background. She wants her food, but she just has to wait. She's a senior cat and she'll get over with it. So for 7th and 8th grade, I'm kind of excited to be having college knowledge coming off of the high school applications, kind of just rounding it out. For 7th grade, we're really going to be focusing on ensuring that they are ready for 8th grade, both academically and social emotionally. But we'll mainly focus on academics, talking about like grammar, how to do essay writing, about professionalism, what is learning who they are. Like, what do I want to be when I grow up? Do I need to really focus on science and math? Or I need to really focus on history and writing? I really want to be a dancer, things like that. And then we'll talk about what their summer is supposed to look like, because that is a very, very big part of the high school process, especially for our kids who are interested in visual arts, drama, dance, musical theater, things like that, because that's when they'll be building their monologues. They'll also become best friends with Miss Craigman because she does not play if you do not go to her office hours. So we work together. I work together with Miss Natalie about things like that. And I also work with Mr. Jackson for kids who are interested in sports medicine and things like that. And then for 8th grade, we're going to focus on talking about the transition from middle school to high school. Now we'll focus more about social emotionally. You know, some of them have been here since pre-K kindergarten. They've never been in a classroom with a boy. They've, other than their brother or a cousin or things like that. So we'll talk about those conversations. I'm also partnering with a company called Highwater, where we'll talk about financial literacy, talk to the students about taxes, talk about how to afford college, trying to go to college for free. And also I'll be working with Miss George on which 8th grade parents will see about blue cards. That's something that I feel is really great that Girls Prep offers. And blue cards are just working papers for kids. And I'll have more information about that coming out in the 8th grade newsletter, but I'm really excited that it's trimester 3 and we'll be closing out the year, but it's also
Is supposed to be playing music and
for
stuff
me.
for her. Babies like to be sued, music, stuff like that.
So it's
Yeah, other stuff with
end of the year focus for me and just talking to 8th graders about prom, graduation, and things like that. So really excited to be having college knowledge and looking forward to my last trimester with these 8th graders.
All right, next slide, Ms. Lopez, thank you. So actually, in the next slide would be you, Ms. Lopez, if you want to just talk about the Learning Partnership Agreement. This is not new, but families will be receiving it again as we recommit to our final trimester.
Yes, so the learning partnership, again, like Ms. Strong said, is not new. It has been updated based on some testing agreements or like being in person, some updated dates. And just to be clear for all families to know what's going on, whether you're in person or online, it is in English and in Spanish. And again, it is for students, whether they are in remote or in hybrid, to understand the expectation that they are attending all classes daily. They're coming to in-person learning on time, just as they're coming to remote learning on time. If you're in person, you're staying home if you are sick. We actually had a great example of that. A 5th grader reached out saying they had a fever and they didn't want to expose other people if potentially they did have COVID. So they were not coming to school, but they would be joining remote. And with our learning center model, it is amazing because students are able to transition easily into their remote classes. There isn't that confusion of like, but where do I go? Or am I just absent? So it's really important for them to join their classes. They're submitting all classwork and assessments. Their cameras are on for community and engagement, which has been the expectation all year, and that they're following those uniform expectations. Their shirts, uniform shirts if they're virtual, full uniform if they're in person. Again, we're just restamping this because the end of the trimester is this week. And as we're getting into that first trimester, it's really good. These are the little things that will get us from a B to an A C to a B, and so on. So these little points are very, very important to make, especially at this time, because we are moving into that 3rd trimester. And this is like what can make or break us in some ways, right? So if we had a rough trimester 2, this is one of those reminders that we can do better and we will do better. And here are the little ways that you can.
Thanks, Ms. Lopez. And can you, before we go over that, can you just remind us of when will families be receiving that again? And when are they submitting it back to us?
Sure. So Ms. Denola sent out a Kindle yesterday. In-person students will be receiving a paper copy in their backpack tomorrow. If you work or live in the area and a paper copy is preferable for you, feel free to email or Kindle me or text me and say, hey, I'm coming by to pick up the paper. You can't come in the building, but I'll come downstairs and give it to you if that's easier for you. And then you will be continuing to get the virtual version. Our goal is to have these all in 100% for the entire network by March 10th, I believe. That is a very big task. We have over 1,700 students in our network, but we know that all of our families are on the same page, especially by now that we're getting into trimester 3. So this is a quick one and done. So in person, you'll be getting those when your scholar gets home tomorrow. And then virtually, you will also be getting those tomorrow if you did not receive the Kinvo yet yesterday.
Awesome. Thanks, Ms. Lopez. And then we want to talk about student recruitment. I believe there's someone from our network-wide student recruitment team on the call.
I'm here. Yes, me.
Hi, how are you?
Sorry, my video is off because I'm having issues with my camera. But yes, I'm here. Good evening, families. Thank you to the Lower East Side Middle School team for allowing me to come on just briefly to your chat and chew. So I just wanted to come on and remind families that our sibling applications are due March 30th. So if you're interested in applying for your younger child, or for the girls or for the boys, please, please, don't forget to submit your application from now to March 30th. Also, please also spread the word, share the word with your church, with your community, with your building, with your neighbors, of anybody that you would know that is interested, that would be interested in applying to this wonderful school. Please let them know that they can submit an application either online at publicprep.org/enroll. They can email our enroll inbox, or they can definitely give me a call, and I'll be more than happy to assist any families over the phone. I'll also drop in a link in the chat that you can use directly to fill out the application online. If anybody has any questions or concerns, please let me know. But if not, I'm pretty much done, Jessica.
Awesome. Thank you for popping by.
Thank you for having me.
And I believe, Ms. Lopez, that our next slide is actually Q&A, to just turn it over to the families to see. We didn't see very many questions coming up in the chat during the presentation, so I want to make sure there's some space now. If you have questions about anything we went over, or just any other questions, feel free to use that raise a hand feature, and we'll be happy to call you off mute, or you can also just drop any questions in the chat.
And stuff.
Miss Woods, I think you might be off mute. I'm not sure if you are intentionally off mute. No problem. In staff meetings, I always call this the awkward Zoom silence. Because when you're in a room, it's not that awkward to give people wait time for a question. But when you're on Zoom staring at each other like the Brady Bunch, it just makes me laugh. Mr. Marr, that face. All right, families, if there aren't any questions either for us or for our student recruitment team, that is all we've got for you tonight. We appreciate your time as always, and your partnership. For those of you who are sending your scholars in the building, please know how much we love seeing them. We had a really exciting launch to the Learning Center this week, and we're excited to welcome students back tomorrow, bright and early, in the Learning Center. So have a great night, families, and we'll see you next week. Take care.